is going on, guys? Happy Eagles game day, everybody. To all my Eagles fans out there watching us live. Guys, if you're watching us live, please be sure to comment, talk birds with us. Joining me, my man, LJ, the host of the Kelly Green Hour podcast. What's going on, LJ?
What's going on, man? I'm so hyped. We're getting our first taste of Sunday football action. The Eagles open the season in 3 weeks, so this is a little, a little way of getting us prepared for 3 weeks in Detroit. I'm pretty sure you probably got something going on over there in your barbecuing.
You know it, man. You know it, man.
I can't wait, man.
Yeah, the smoker is not running today. But we've got a nice pasta salad. We've got.
Okay.
I'm making some ultimate pigs in a blanket. Do you know what that is?
No, what's the ultimate?
They're like hot dogs, basically rolled up in like a pastry, little handhelds. But yeah,
I mean, I love pigs in a blanket. I didn't know if ultimate was different than just a regular pigs in the blanket.
Oh yeah, there's going to be some sriracha on them, some nacho cheese, and different things like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's nothing better. There is nothing better than eating, watching football all day, and everything in between.
We were just talking about before we came on. Saturday and Sundays, next week, Saturdays, we get the first taste of college football action.
Yep.
The weekends are going to be football filled, and I can't wait.
100%. Saturdays are college prep work food-wise for Sundays, and now we just eat and relax on Sundays. So today we are breaking down the Browns versus the Eagles preseason week 2 here. We're talking top storylines on offense and defense, breaking down Jalen Hurts, our top matchups to watch, players to watch, who's got the most to win, who's got the most to lose. I'm going to throw it right to you, LJ. Let's talk about Jalen Hurts.
Okay.
What do you expect from Jalen Hurts against the Cleveland Browns? And really, how much do you think this guy's going to play?
So complete honesty, I don't think he plays at all. I'm going to go back to last year. The first preseason game they played, the Eagles starters played a series. Then the next 2 weeks they did joint practices. Like this year, last week against in the first preseason game against the Jets, Hurts went 80 yards, touchdown. Looked really good out there. Took the hit from Quincy Williams, which we don't want to see. But that's the only action that we're going to see. Nick Sirianni and the coaching staff get a lot more out of these joint controlled practices than they will out of a meaningless preseason game. While we call it meaningless and we know we're going to watch 100% of the game, but let's be real, for the starters, it's meaningless. Jalen Hurts, we haven't gotten any of word on it yet, but I don't think he plays at all. If he plays, it'll be a series. I don't need to see him out there. Looking at the weather reports in Cleveland, it's raining. It's a new turf that they put in on Tuesday and Wednesday. I don't need him going out there and slipping and tearing an ACL. Don't need that happening at all. I don't expect to see Jalen Hurts. We saw him last week against a very poor Jets team, yes, but all the reports coming out of this week in these joint practices, and again, they're going to do joint practices next week against Miami. He was pretty good. Like, it helps when you have Devontae Smith, who couldn't be covered by any of the Cleveland Browns all week. AJ Brown, pretty much owned Greedy Williams and did what he wanted to do out on the field. Dallas Goedert is poised for a big year if he can stay on the field. And now that he's the number one tight end, last year he didn't become the number one tight end until halfway through the year, and he's still got a lot of targets. I think we're going to see a lot of big things, but we're not going to see it in preseason. And I don't have an issue with that now. Last year when it happened, I had an issue because we didn't know what Sirianni was going to do. And it was Jalen Hurts' first year coming in as the full-time starter. We kind of have an idea of what Jalen Hurts is, but we also know that the Eagles don't have a shot if Jalen Hurts is hurt. Well, as much as I like Gardner Minshew, I don't know if he can lead us to the playoffs.
Correct.
So we need a 100% Jalen Hurts come September 11th in Detroit. You do all this stuff because in these control, as you know, in these controlled and joint practices, you can control the environment. Your quarterback's not going to get hit by Jadeveon Clowney or Myles Garrett in a practice, because if that happens, there will be some fisticuffs. It will be bad. In a game, you can't really control it. As we saw last week, Quincy Williams, late hit. Who knew that? We didn't expect it to happen, but it happened. So I don't expect to see Jalen Hurts at all, and I don't really see an issue with that. Obviously, we know how the Eagles started last year. Started very slow, 2-5, and the offense didn't seem to be clicking until they started running the football. But I think that they're a more mature team this year, that they'll be able to get more out of these these joint practices than they will out of these preseason games.
I could not agree anymore, man. Could not agree. I said it during our show this week. Like, preseason means absolutely nothing. I see it on my timeline on social media. Like, Jalen Hurts needs to get out there. He's got a lot of things to work on. Of course he does. But it's the freaking preseason. You're not going to win any awards. You're not getting any kind of...
Yeah, the Baltimore Ravens have won 21 straight preseason games. How many Super Bowls have they won?
Exactly. It means absolutely nothing. I do think we'll see Jalen Hurts today. It'll probably be a feel thing. I would imagine around roughly 2 series plus or minus 1, depending on how it goes. It really truly depends on how it goes. If Jalen Hurts goes out there, goes 80 yards downfield, they look great, pull. Absolutely 100% pull them. You're not proving anything. There's definitely first team rep guys that we'll be talking about that I still want to see get some reps here. But when it comes to Jalen Hurts, man, it's all about positive reinforcement, having that confidence heading into the regular season. But 1 or 2 series at most for me.
Yeah. So one thing I kind of want to point out, or I think is going to happen, these preseason games are going away. They went from 4 to 3 because they went from 16 to 17 games.
Yeah.
And within 5 years, they're going to go to 18 games, which means they'll go down to 2 preseason games. I think preseason is the all season is going to be just joint practices. College football, they don't do preseason games. Now, obviously, I'm going to use Alabama. Their first game's against Utah State, and that's like a preseason game. So, like, a lot of the big teams will schedule a cupcake for the first game, and that will be, their preseason game going into, for Alabama, they got Texas the next week. So it's like, this is your tune-up. But the preseason is going to go away. Nobody really cares. And if you're going to keep adding regular season games, they'll take away. They want 20, I think, total. So it's 17-3 now. They're going to go to an 8. As much as everybody's going to complain about it, which I'm not, being a huge football fan, more football is better. They're going to go to 18 regular season games, which means they'll get rid of another preseason game. Would not shock me within the next 10 to 15 years. We're up to 20 regular season games, no preseason. You do joint practices. You may even televise these joint practices because people are going to watch. And what does the NFL love? Money. People will pay. Advertisers will pay because people's eyeballs will be on, NBC 10 Philadelphia to watch a joint practice against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Why would they do that? Because it's football, and you'll be able to see what the team is going to look like against an opponent of a different uniform in a controlled environment.
100% agree. Yeah. So Sunday 1:00, my daughter, my wife, our family, we'll be hovering around the TV watching everything that happens. You can be sure there's going to be a lot of eating, a lot of watching, a lot of there's merchandise going to be everywhere. It's just such a moneymaker. I fully agree. So yeah, going back to Jalen Hurts, what I want to see, I just want to see kind of a lot of the same stuff if and when he does go out there on the field. I want to see the Eagles continuing to work on that passing game. I want to see Jalen Hurts with a clean or without a clean pocket, stay in that pocket, look confident, make those timing throws, hit those tight windows. So I just kind of want to see more of the same that we saw against the Jets. I know they're going to be an excellent running team, but I want to see, A.J. Brown continuing to open up the field for Dallas Goedert in that intermediate area of the field. I want to see Devontae Smith, which we'll get to, assuming he plays, get him going in motion, get that guy in space that we know he'll thrive in. Scott is chiming in on Facebook. Good morning, gentlemen. What is going on, Scott? What are your expectations for Jalen Hurts? Let me know down in that comment section. But yeah, I think I love the Eagles' tempo. I loved their pace that we saw against the Jets. Again, it's the Jets, but I was really impressed. And everything you saw or read, at least from my perspective, in the joint practices against the Browns this week was pretty positive, at least offensively and defensively. It was an overwhelmingly positive week. The first teamers for the Eagles went down and scored on the Browns, and the Browns didn't do much on offense either. The defense was locking it down.
Yeah, and the one thing that when the first team offense was out there in one of the joint practices, of the 24 plays they ran, they threw the ball 21 times, and that's what you want to see. Like you just mentioned, we know the Eagles can run the football. They have the best offensive line, best running game, even with Miles Sanders, who can't, who I don't. Okay, they didn't last week. They didn't run the football. He caught the ball twice, and he hurt his hamstring. I am not a Penn State fan, and when we drafted him, I was skeptical because of the whole Penn State thing.
Yeah.
Because I think if you we drafted him and Sharif Miller, and I was like, wow, 2 Penn State people, that was going to blow up in our face. Obviously, Sharif Miller can't play. Miles Sanders has potential. He just cannot stay healthy. And that's why there's all this talk of the Eagles. If the Eagles do make one big move for the season, it's going to be a running back. But my only thought of that is the Eagles, if they don't want to pay Miles Sanders, they're not going to trade a valuable asset, whether it's a draft pick, whether it's an offensive lineman, for a running back. Mm-hmm. Now I'm going to use, because of where the Eagles are today and what we're doing, Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt isn't practicing because he wants a new contract. What makes you think if the Eagles traded for Kareem Hunt but didn't give him a contract that he's going to want to play? Now, I don't know, maybe being in a different situation, it might be different, but he wants to get paid before stepping on the field, because obviously anything can happen. You get hurt, there's that big contract or a contract that you were expecting, it's gone. So that's the thing that when Eagles fans are like, yeah, we're going to trade for Kareem Hunt. And I mean, obviously all the talk with Nick Sirianni catching up with Kareem Hunt. Kevon Wallace put out a tweet today, which I don't think it ends anything of it, but he's like, it's time to hunt. And he spelled Hunt in all caps. And everybody's like, oh, he's talking about Kareem Hunt. You know, Eagles trading for Kareem Hunt confirmed. Not like the Eagles don't value the safety position. Or they don't value the running back position.
100%. They're
not going to pay those. All the talk of Jesse Bates, the Eagles potentially trade. It's not going to happen because the Eagles don't value those positions. So they much rather go with a running back by committee. Now, I know Kenny Gainwell hasn't had the greatest of camps, but they drafted him last year with the potential. Maybe it's just that sophomore slump. Who knows? But they're going to go with a running back by committee. And do they need to add one? Yeah, and if they do, it'll be a Jordan Howard type. They're not going to go and trade an asset for a Kareem Hunt or somebody like that.
I couldn't agree anymore. And I'm not a Penn State fan either. My wife is. I'm a Temple fan, so we butt heads. Oh, well, we used to butt heads. This has not been the case lately. But Scott chimes in. I have a very high standard for Jalen Hurts. This is his job to win or lose. He has legit weapons now and a security blanket in A.J. Brown. I fully agree, man. That's why this is so exciting. The excuses end in 2022 for multiple reasons. Well, not just Jalen Hurts, but let's roll on. Thanks for the comment, Scott. Love the comment. Let's go on to our offense. LJ, what are your expectations from the Eagles offense, and who are some guys that you're watching closest today at 1 o'clock?
So since I don't expect Jalen Hurts to play, and we know Gardner Minshew is going to be the backup, I want to see the Reed Sinnett versus Carson Strong. Sinnett played a bunch last week. I'm surprised we didn't see Carson Strong, but Reed Sinnett did not impress me at all. I want to see what Carson Strong can do. Yeah, he's going to be in there with a bunch of probably third and fourth stringers and against a bunch of third and fourth stringers. But I just want to see what he has. I want to see. There was all the talk that he has a strong arm. Well, let's see it. I want to see him throw the ball down the field. So, and I don't know if the Eagles are going to keep 3 quarterbacks, but if they do, obviously it's that battle between Sinnett and Carson Strong. So for one, I want to see that third string quarterback battle. And if the Eagles are going to be they'll release them both, and whichever one doesn't get picked up, that's who's coming back to the practice squad. Sure, that could happen. But I want to know what I have. We saw Sinnett last week, and again, playing with third and fourth stringers, like it's tough to evaluate, but he didn't impress me that much. So I just want to see Carson Strong today. That running back position, as I mentioned, Kenny Gainwell hasn't been that great this camp. If he plays, because I know he's also been battling some injuries and didn't play last week, just want to see if we can see some explosiveness, because we saw some explosiveness from Jason Huntley last week, and we do need a kickoff and punt returner, and that's where Huntley can make a name for himself. You know, if you watched that Dallas game yesterday, Kevontae Turpin had a punt return and a kickoff return, and like he's not big, and B, he showed it in the USFL. Now I know the USFL is not the NFL, but he showed that he has that ability, and he goes out there in preseason and does it. Now we need to see it from these guys, the Jason Huntleys, the Brenton Coveys, and those guys, because I don't want to see Jalen Reagor returning kicks or punts anymore.
You're going to see.
And I know that's the big question. Is he going to be on the roster? I still think he will be. I just don't want to see him back there returning punts. And then on the offensive line, I'm assuming we're going to see Cam Jurgens out there for a series or two. Man, he reminded me so much of Kelsey last week. Yeah. Just the way he was able to get out in front, pull, block to the second and third levels. While I believe Kelsey's going to start week 1 and continue his streak of 122 consecutive starts, it feels really good that the Eagles prioritized that position in the draft, in the second round, and now we know we have somebody that can go out there and immediately step in if needed. So from those 3 aspects, the third string quarterback, the running backs, and Cam Jurgens, if he gets out there, I just want to see continued progress from him.
Yeah, Cam Jurgens for me. Scott chimes in and says, I'm cheering for Marcus Epps. We'll get to the defense in a second. It's got to be Cam Jurgens for me. He's going to get a lot of playing time. How much, I think, is the question. Because I thought he looked terrific against the Jets. The way he was able to pull, the way he was able to get to that second level, neutralize linebackers. It was awesome. It was absolutely fantastic. This is a guy who's been playing offensive line for just 2 years. You could see that athleticism. You could see that fluid athleticism, his ability to get out and get out fast. Like you said, it was Kelsey-esque. The dude is a basketball player. The dude, I think, played another sport. I could be wrong. Or no, he was a tight end.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a tight end. And you could see
so he was
that.
Jason Peters, pretty much.
Pretty much. He was so impressive. I also want to see Devontae. I'm itching to see a little bit of a Devontae Smith today against the Browns. They were targeting him a lot in camp and for a bunch during these joint practices. When you line up Devontae against the CB2s and the nickel defenders, man, that is a mismatch for Jalen Hurts every single freaking time. And I can't wait to see that. I remember I go back to last preseason. I think it was against the Patriots when he blew up one of the defenders with his route running, and it was embarrassing on the Patriots side.
You don't get a receiver that comes into the NFL like he did last year with that superior route running ability. So that was definitely very good to see. I just don't think if Jalen doesn't play, I don't think you're going to see it Brown. I don't think you're going to see Smith. We might not see these guys until September 11th. That's my only thing. That's why, like, when you ask, what do you expect to see from, Hurts and stuff? I just don't think we're going to see them out there.
I think what I would do, I'm fully on that side. We'll see. Scott says, I'm excited about Cam Jurgens. He's going to be a special player, especially with Kelsey picking him. Yeah, I believe you recruited him to the Eagles too, man. We don't need to worry about the center position for a long, long time. And
that's the left side of the offensive line.
Or the left side. I think, I remember on the post-game show, last Friday night, I was like, can this guy play a little guard? What is this guard?
There was talk of that coming in that, Jurgens has that ability that he can play right guard. So, if Sayamalu, who's the starter right now, doesn't hold his weight, doesn't do what he's supposed to do, it wouldn't shock me if they threw Cam Jurgens out there because he has that ability to move out there.
Yeah. NFL Report with Shane says it feels more of a game day today than last week because we play early. I fully agree, man. Sundays, football on Sundays at 1:00. There's nothing better. Absolutely nothing better.
Yep.
Yeah, feels so good. Let's throw it to the other side. Let's talk about the defense. LJ, what do you want to see from the Eagles defense, and who are some guys on your radar that you're mostly focused on today?
So I'm going to look at the young guys. I'm going to start with Nakobe Dean.
Yeah,
dude. I know that there was talk before the preseason game that he just wasn't flashing, but Nakobe Dean is a game day player. He's gonna know where to be on the field when he needs to be there to make a play. And you saw playing behind Jordan Davis, while Jordan Davis didn't make the tackle in the backfield, he affected it for Nakobe Dean to make the tackle. So Jordan Davis collapses the pocket, Nakobe Dean right behind him off his hip, making the tackle. Exactly what they did at Georgia, they're doing already in the NFL. Jordan Davis getting triple teamed, in his first preseason game. Now, he won't always get triple teamed, but if he's going to get double teamed, if he's going to get triple teamed, that's going to open things up for the Hassan Reddicks and Brandon Grahams of the world. We always talked about last year how the Eagles couldn't get after the quarterback, especially after Brandon Graham got hurt. That's going to change this year. Hassan Reddick is going to potentially have double-digit sacks again, and it's going to help when Jordan Davis is collapsing the middle, because it's going to take the center and 2 guards to stop him from penetrating and get into the – and I'm not even saying that Jordan Davis is going to have to get to the quarterback, but he's going to be able to make such a pile up in the middle that the quarterback's not going to be able to step up. And if the quarterback can't step up, that he's in the back of the pocket for Brandon Graham, Hassan Reddick, Josh Sweat, whoever is playing end. And Nakobe Dean was my favorite pick for the Eagles. Obviously screaming, we should have got him in the first round. We should have got him in the second round. How he was able to get him in the third round. And I've always said, and the one thing I think, me and my co-host Connor, when we talk draft, the Eagles need to draft everybody from the SEC. When I watched the Alabama-Georgia national championship game, I said, how many picks do the Eagles have? Draft everybody from these 2 teams. I don't care, because they're ready. They're pro ready, as Scott says. If you're playing the SEC, you're NFL ready, and it's true. That's it just means more in the SEC. And then in the secondary, I want to see these young corners. We know what we have in Darius Slay. We know what we have in Bradbury. We know what we have in Maddox. I want to see McPherson. I want to see Tate Gowan. I want to see McCain. I want to see Vincent. I want to see Josh Jobe, Mario Goodrich, especially those last 2. Josh Jobe and Mario. Josh Jobe got kind of picked on last week.
Yeah.
And so I want to see how he's able to step up this week against the Cleveland Browns. I want to see how Mario Goodrich, he had a good play. He didn't play a lot last week, but when he got targeted, I think he got targeted in the end zone, if I'm not mistaken. He made a play, calls the pass, called an incomplete pass. So I want to see those 2 guys, because I have high expectations for them in terms of making the roster, being contributors on special teams early, and learning behind Bradbury and Slay, because will both Slay and Bradbury be back next year? I'm assuming at least one will. And potentially how he could do is what he did with Alshon in 2017. He signed Alshon to that 1-year deal, and then halfway through the year gave him a big contract. It wouldn't surprise me if Bradbury is playing very well. He's still young. What is he, 28, 29? That if he is showing he's better than what he was with the Giants, and the Giants were a dumpster fire last year. If he goes back to what he, how he played in Carolina, that how he gives him a couple years, gives him a contract extension to keep him here, and then your corners are set with Slay, Bradbury, and Maddox for a couple of years, and you can have these young guys learn behind them and just step in, a la when we had Troy Vincent, Bobby Taylor, drafted Sheldon Brown and Lito Shepherd. That's what I would like to see. I'm very high on Goodrich and Jobe, and I think one or both has a chance to make this roster.
I fully agree. I'm going to be talking about those guys very, very soon when we start breaking down guys who could win or lose the most this week in this game. But yeah, for me, guys watching on defense, it starts with Jordan Davis. That Browns interior offensive line is pretty banged up. So I expect him to get some snaps, and then I expect Jordan Davis to make more impressive plays. I'm sick and tired. Like, I put out the highlight reel of Jordan Davis blowing up the Jets interior line, and people are like, well, where are the sacks? Where are the tackles for loss? He's
not Aaron Donald.
I know. People, what are you watching? Stop. Like, the guy's literally getting triple teamed. That's his job, is to make running backs dance just a little bit more. Let those second, third level defenders on the Eagles get through those spots, make those plays. That's what the Jordan Davis does, is just creates so many more opportunities for the second and third levels and our edge rushers. And that's really what I want to see. I want to see the Eagles get to the quarterback this week. They didn't do it against the Jets. According to Over the Cap, the Eagles are the number 1 team in the NFL with most money allocated to the defensive line. Their win rate is really, really good, but they don't get home. And this year, I want to see them get home. They were like second worst in sack percentage last year. I'm so excited to see what Jordan Davis means for our edge rushers. I want to see some flashes today.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off. That stat you just said about Overcap, the Eagles putting all that money. Fletcher Cox, who resigned, John Hargrave, Hassan Reddick, who I don't care if he's listed as a linebacker. He's a defensive end. Brandon Graham. So, yeah, it doesn't surprise me that the Eagles allocate most of their money to the trenches, even if you look at the offensive line. They prioritize the trenches because you win from inside out.
Yep. And Eagles linebackers, man, nothing put a bigger smile on my face against I know it's the Jets, but TJ Edwards, Hassan Reddick, my guy, Kaiser White also had some plays during the joint practices this week. Again, getting an interception. Our Eagles linebackers are going to be making plays, blowing up lanes, all of that kind of stuff. It's going to be just so exciting again. So I'll be watching the Eagles linebackers, just like you said.
First time the Eagles have had competent linebackers since D'Amico Ryans, or you go back to Jeremiah Trotter. It felt really good last week watching Kaiser White get that interception, because I don't think an Eagles linebacker has made a play like that in a long time.
Yeah. Another guy I'm going to be watching closely because I thought he had a really good game against the Jets. I'm going to stick to that defensive line as Taron Jackson. Taron Jackson made some plays against the Jets. He has had a really good camp so far. I think he's pushing for a regular role on this defense. And if he has a really good game against the Browns here, he could potentially, I think, take snaps away from Derek Barnett, which is a positive.
I think they cut Derek Barnett. Derek Barnett played 2 snaps last week? I don't remember ever seeing him on the field. So if Jackson continues to progress, it wouldn't shock me if they just cut Derek Barnett.
Yeah, I'm okay with that as well. So Taron Jackson's definitely a name to keep an eye on. Let's roll on to which Eagles players have the most to win today. I've got several of these. So who could improve their stock to make the final roster the most against the Browns, LJ?
Probably, I'll go back to the 2 young guys in the secondary, Job and Goodrich.
Yeah.
Just because, again, we know the top 3 is set. The 4th, I thought Jimmy Moreland had a chance, but then he got hurt and now he's on IR. I know that they like Zach McPherson a lot, Tay Gowan, but they gave a lot of undrafted, money to undrafted dollars amounts to Job and Goodrich. So they definitely, it wouldn't shock me. We see them out there for the entire second half, but maybe even starting in the second quarter, depending on if the starters play, which again, I don't think they will. But we could see them too. They have a chance. And also I'm going to go Kavon Wallace, because we know Epps, Tart, and Harris are locks pretty much. Tart, we haven't seen much of Tart. At least I don't remember. I know he's not the greatest.
He stinks, man. He stinks.
I know, but I'm not the biggest Epps fan.
Yeah.
I wanted the Eagles to make a move to bring in a competent safety. I would have much rather kept Rodney McLeod than Anthony Harris too. That's just me.
No question.
When Kavon Wallace was drafted out of Clemson a couple years back, I thought, wow, they might have gotten a steal here. I think he was drafted in the 3rd or 4th round. And I thought he had a chance to really step in, not year 1, but maybe year 2 and after, and be a starter for 5 years. But he couldn't get on the field under Jim Schwartz, injury issues. He came into camp, in really good shape this year. But we haven't really seen him that much. I want to see what Kavon Wallace can do out there.
Yeah. I
think he had a pretty good week. I think he had an interception in the joint practices this week. So if he could continue, if he can find a way to progress, stay on the field, stay healthy, be a contributor on special teams, I would love to see Kavon Wallace take a step forward.
Absolutely. Just piggyback off what you said, Josh Jobe is on my radar. Really interested to see what he does today against the Browns. Like you said, he got kind of picked on a little bit against the Jets, but he's got really good size. He's long, man. He's a lanky athlete. He still needs to get a little stronger, but I think in Jonathan Gannon's zone heavy scheme, if you allow him to kind of play to his strengths, keep everything close, get him up there on the line of scrimmage, I think he could really thrive in this defense. So Josh Jobe is definitely one to watch, especially how he battles it out with Zach McPherson. And how that kind of ends here in the preseason. I'm really interested in Josh Jobe. Another guy that I think we kind of touched on him, but Kenny Gainwell could have a big game. Kenny Gainwell's back, like you said. He didn't have a very good week of practice, but I think he's a great fit for this offense. I think we're going to see some touches from Gainwell today. I think it's more about how he improves as a runner. We all know that Kenny Gainwell is absolutely terrific as a receiver out of the backfield. Kenny Gainwell, I think you look at this, Eagles running back committee, like you said, it's going to be running back by committee. But with Miles Sanders on that sideline again, I think Kenny Gainwell could get more and more touches. Again, I'm not on the Sanders train either. I've never been.
I have a question for you about Joe, because my co-host Connor brought this up, and it's intriguing, especially after watching him last week. He thinks that he could become a safety. Mm-hmm. Do you think the Eagles would keep him and kind of, with the versatility that he could provide, train him or have him working with the safety position? He might be a better safety than he is a corner.
I fully agree. His skill set is definitely more so on that mold of a safety. And I think that's kind of what is so intriguing about Josh Jobe is that size, that ability to play safety, his ability to play on special teams, play in the box. I think that is definitely a reason that he's going to make this roster. So for me, Josh Jobe is one to watch out for sure. The only thing with Josh Jobe is the injuries. Like, can he stay healthy? So I don't think it's a matter of on the field. It's a matter of just staying on the field.
He should be used to being picked on, because when he was at Alabama, he had Patrick Surtain on one side. One of the years. They had a highly recruited guy, Kool-Aid McKinstry, last year. So there are guys, you just don't go to the one side of the field when you have certain guys over there. So who are you going to pick on? It'd be Josh Jobe. So he should be used to it.
Yeah. Noah Togiai. Noah Togiai is another guy to watch for, mostly because Grant Calcaterra is back today. And he's been out the entire preseason. And Noah Togiai has definitely opened some eyes, turned some heads. He's a solid receiver, kind of tight end. He's pretty okay at run blocking. The Eagles sent J-Jaw packing. I think that I fully agree. So I think absolutely Noah Togiai, if he has a really good game, I saw this guy as on the bubble, but I think he's more in than out at this point. It'll be interesting to see if the Eagles keep these guys. Jack Stoll is Jack Stoll. You know what you're going to get with him. Noah Togiai. Richard Rodgers, we're going to get to in a little bit. So Noah Togiai is a guy that I think has been tight end 2 so far throughout training camp. Again, this without Grant Calcaterra. So that battle is going to be really interesting. This is a huge game for Calcaterra and Noah Togiai. And then another guy I think has had a really good camp is Marlon Tuipulotu. He's had a really solid camp. And I think more specifically, that backup nose tackle position. You look at kind of the Eagles defense, that multiple scheme defense that Jonathan Gannon is running. It is so crucial to have that backup nose tackle, so that guys like Javon Hargrave, Fletcher Cox, Milton Williams, that's not their role. They're at their best. I think. I don't know what you think. I think they're at their best at getting to the quarterback, quick off the line, that kind of thing. Jordan Davis is going to be the primary nose tackle in this defense, but having that backup guy, that way you can kind of put these guys in and have them play at their strength. That's important. So Marlon,
the only issue with that is just the numbers. So if you think of defensive tackle, Fletcher Cox is going to be here. Javon Hargrave is going to be here. Jordan Davis will be here. Milton Williams will be here. That's 4 defensive tackles. And I know that
Jackson, maybe.
Who?
You think Terrence makes it? I think.
We'll see. I just think that, and I know that he had last year. He wasn't ready, I guess, for the NFL. But this year, like you said, he's been good. It's just how many are they going to keep? Because we know that, again, I don't like Hassan Reddick. While he's listed as a sandbacker, if he ever drops back in coverage, Jonathan Gannon should be fired. That's not what he does. He wasn't good at it at the beginning of his career. The last 2 years, he was rushing the passer, and he double-digit sacks, 23 sacks, I think, whatever, in the last 2 years. He goes after the quarterback. Then you think, but also, Milton Williams can also play at the end. So maybe, with the versatility of Milton Williams playing end-to-end tackle, Marlon, how do you say his last name?
Tuipulotu.
Yeah, Tuipulotu. Maybe he has a chance to slide right in there and be, like you mentioned, the backup nose tackle. I thought Noah Ellis, who they had signed as an
Yeah.
undrafted free agent, had a chance to be that guy.
Yeah.
But maybe he just needs another year. Maybe he could be a practice squad type of guy. I know he got hurt, I think, or something like that, so he might be on IR right now. But so we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's a good problem to have when you have a lot of depth on the offensive and defensive lines.
Yeah. Anthony chimes in and says, I can't wait to see Kennedy Brooks play. He's a good player. He's going to get some carries today for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Any thoughts on Kennedy Brooks?
So I love the pickup. I felt he could be the Jordan Howard type player. Like he provides something different than Miles Sanders, Kenny Gainwell, Boston Scott, Jason Huntley. He's a bigger guy. He could potentially get those third and short yardage. We saw them trying to give the ball to Jason Huntley last week on third and short, 4th and 1, and not able to get it. Now, granted, it wasn't behind the starting offensive line, but I think Kennedy Brooks has a chance. When I did my pre-training camp, the offensive depth chart, I had Kennedy Brooks making the team over Boston Scott. I'm not a big Boston Scott fan. I think we hype him up a little. Fans and media like in the area hype him up a little bit too much. Like he's only good against the Giants. So like if you wanted to sign him when we play the Giants or at the Meadowlands, sure. But I think Kennedy Brooks, if given the opportunity, has a chance to make the roster.
Yeah, I fully agree. Let's throw it to our next question. Which players have the most to lose? So we're going vice versa here. Who, in your opinion, has the most to lose today?
That's a great question. I'm going to go with the third string quarterback. One of them have to perform. And like I mentioned earlier in the show, that Reed Sinnett was not good last week, and we didn't see Carson Strong. The question will be: do the Eagles keep 2? And that would be Hurts and Minshew, or do they keep 3? Hurts, Minshew, and who? And I think that we need to see and I think Carson Strong especially, because we didn't see him last week. We know that they gave him a bunch of money as an undrafted free agent, and we all also know that he has no knees, pretty much. So we need to see him out there. And does he have the strong arm that people say he had in college? Can he sling the ball down the field? It's going to be a wet day in Cleveland. Can you throw a wet football? Can you still throw these NFL patterns against NFL defense? Obviously, the NFL is a lot quicker than college. And playing at Nevada, he played in what was the WAC or something. I don't even know what conference Nevada was in. So that I want to see that third string quarterback battle because one of them, even if they're not on the 53, one of them is going to be on the practice squad. You don't go into the season with just 2 quarterbacks, especially with a running quarterback like Jalen Hurts, where anything can happen. He can get hurt, and you don't want to be scrambling for another quarterback that's not on your practice squad. So one of them will at least be on the practice squad. So I want to see how that battle turns out against the Browns today.
I think Jaquiski Tartt should be on the list. I think he's way more out than in at this point. He's done absolutely nothing throughout training camp, through the game against the Jets. I think he's definitely on the bubble and most likely going to be cut on. Anthony says, I love Carson Strong because he's better than Hurts. He can make every throw, but he needs time to develop. That is a take. That is a take. I like Carson Strong. I agree. Hey, Anthony, I like Carson Strong. I'm shocked that he's had such a poor training camp. I thought he was basically the anti-Jalen Hurts. Where Jalen Hurts is good at improvising and getting out of the pocket. What makes Carson Strong so fascinating is his accuracy in that intermediate and deep side of the field. He can move the ball big time with his arm. We just haven't seen it. Like LJ said, I'm really excited to see him play, but all reports are he's really struggling. Carson Strong is really struggling. So we'll see.
So looking on Twitter right now, there's the Dallas Goedert's not dressed out there.
Okay.
There's a chance that the starters won't play, so we could see a lot of Carson Strong today.
That's good to know. I think that's the good thing. That's the good thing Sirianni should do. You're not trying to impress your fans. You're trying to win football games. And that's really what this is.
And it doesn't matter with the result in preseason. Last week the Eagles lost to the Jets, but the first team offense and the first team defense looked really good.
Yeah.
That was fine. We were happy with what we saw. We want them to come into the season healthy. So I don't care about preseason results.
You already touched on it. Kayvon Wallace, I think, has a lot to lose today. He's on my list of guys to watch. I think another game where he just doesn't bring anything, he could be on the out for sure. And Richard Rodgers is definitely on the out. You look at Calcaterra and Noah Togi. I don't know where Richard Rodgers fits.
He'll probably end up on the practice squad because he always does. And then somebody's gonna get hurt, and he'll be on the active roster. So
yeah. All right. Yeah, love that comment, Anthony. That's awesome. All right, let's roll on to our last question. Which position battle will we learn about the most after this game against Cleveland? What's your take?
Wow. I'm gonna go running backs only because Sanders isn't gonna play. Boston Scott's gonna play this week. We should see a lot of him. We didn't see him last week. Kenny Gainwell we didn't see last week. I'm assuming we're gonna see him. Jason Huntley we saw a lot of last week. He averaged 3 yards a carry, but he had a little bit of burst. And Kennedy Brooks. So and then they got that other guy, the guy that they picked up. I don't even remember his name, and maybe we'll see him. He didn't play last week either. But I want to see the running back battle because there's all the talk going around that the Eagles are probably should add a running back because Miles Sanders isn't trustworthy when it comes to staying healthy, and Kenny Gainwell hasn't had a good camp, and Boston Scott is Boston Scott. There are options out there that are probably better. And if they're going to make a move, I don't want it to be a Jordan Howard move, which it might be anyway. But if they're going to make a move at running back, I would potentially I would love Kareem Hunt. It would be a great pickup. Him and Jalen Hurts in the backfield with Dallas Goedert and AJ Brown and Devon. That offense would be amazing. I just don't see it happening. Mm-hmm. They're not going to pay give up an asset for somebody that wants to be paid and somebody that may only be here a year. So that would be in a perfect world. Kareem Hunt getting traded to the Eagles would be perfect. But yeah, I want to see this running back battle. That they got to figure out. We know that they can run the football, but they need to figure out who in what situation you're going to be able to put out on the field. And we obviously know we can't really trust Miles Sanders right now, and the Eagles know that. That's why they didn't want to give him a contract extension.
Yeah. Paul says no Eagles starters will play today, to be honest. He's on LJ's train there. Anthony chimes in, says wide receivers will battle for the 3rd and 4th spot besides Brad Smith.
Quez Watkins and Pascal have that down, I think. I think the top 4 is locked in Brown, Smith, Watkins, and Pascal. The question becomes, do they keep 5 or 6? And is Jalen Reagor one of them? Does Britton Covey get a chance because he can return kicks? Does Greg Ward, because he's so reliable, at least, and Jalen Hurts likes him. Does he make it over one of them? I think the first 4, are locks. It becomes the 5th and 6th receiver battle that we could watch today.
My position we're going to learn most about is got to be the safety position. It's got to be. I think Marcus Epps is banged up, so I think they're being a little cautious with him. Who are you going to throw out there? It's going to be an interesting, I think, for the safety position because you're going to learn a lot about what Andre Chachere, I think is pronounced. I could be wrong. You'll learn all about Kayvon Wallace, Jaquiski Tart, Anthony Harris, who I'm not excited about. Outside of that, it's slim pickings for sure when it comes to the Eagles safety. So I think we might learn a little bit. We'll see. Who am I missing? I think I'm missing one. Reed Blankenship. Reed Blankenship is the guy to watch for. He's had a really good camp. He had 8 tackles. He led the team, I think, against the Jets. Reed Blankenship. I'm excited to see him get more snaps with the 1s and 2s with Marcus Epps out. I think Reed Blankenship is definitely a guy that's kind of rising on the depth chart for sure. So I'll go.
He was another undrafted free agent, right? If you think about it, Howie has had a good track record. The Corey Clement in 2017, getting him. Josh Adams, while Josh Adams wasn't the greatest running back, he led the Eagles in rushing one year. When it comes to these undrafted guys, you have to give Callie and the scouting department a lot of credit for going out and getting guys that weren't drafted and being able to convince them to come to Philly, have a chance to get on the field and be a member of a really good team.
Mm-hmm. Paul chimes in and says there are 4 to 5 teams with quality running back depth who will release some talented and younger running backs He's got the Bills with Moss or Singletary, the Vikings with Madison, Browns with Duke Johnson, Steelers with Snell, even the Dolphins and Patriots.
I love the James Cook draft pick by the Bills, by the way. He's going to make a difference in that offense.
I will also chime in. I'm already like a step ahead of the 2023 NFL draft class. I like that class a lot. If the Eagles are looking at a day 2, day 3 running back, there's going to be a good chunk of them available. So that's definitely down the line. Paul says Tuesday afternoon cuts will be safety, Jaquiski Tart, my man, Greg Ward, and some younger guys. Yeah, Greg Ward's days are gone for sure. I love me some Greg Ward. I get made fun of all the time, LJ, about my not normal love for Greg Ward. We're just at a different place. There was a time when he was the number 1 receiver on this team. Is today.
I know. Remember those times Carson Wentz getting that team to the playoffs?
But I agree, Paul. I think Jaquiski Tart's on the out for this one. So yeah, that's pretty much wraps it up, man. Let's get ready for this game at 1 o'clock. LJ, is there anything you want to plug or final thoughts on this game?
So over at you can follow the my podcast with my co-host Connor Donald at the Kelly Green Hour. We will probably do a post game. We like to let the game breathe. So we'll probably do a post game either tomorrow or Tuesday. But yeah, no, like the biggest key is getting out healthy. That's what I mean. Doesn't shock me that the starters don't play. And then getting ready to go to Miami and then seeing the same thing. We just want to see progress. And, next week will be a nice test because you're going to go up against Tyreek Hill. So I want to see Darius Slay and James Bradbury against Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle in that group. So that'll be fun. But, for this game, the young guys, let's see them progress. And let's see some of these position battles, like you mentioned, safety, quarterback, running back. Let's see what, the 5th or 6th receiver, the 5th or 6th corner, if that's what they decide to do. Let's see some of these battles play out as the roster takes shape because they have to get down to 80 on Tuesday, I believe.
Paul says, I sense the Eagles will be making an offer for safety Eddie Jackson and could offer Jalen Reagor, Davion Taylor. Do it now. Do it now. I'm in.
Chicago, right? Eddie Jackson is in Chicago.
Yeah. Let's do that trade. Yeah. Expect final thoughts. Like, let's expect a lot of touches going towards Jalen Reagor today, like we saw against the Jets. That's going to happen.
Oh yeah, they want to showcase him.
Absolutely. So Jalen Reagor, as much as he's either getting traded or being on this roster. That's just the reality. I don't think
they definitely won't cut him.
No. Yeah. Final thoughts, man. What a day. You've got the Eagles at 1 o'clock. You've got Andrew Painter on MLB TV at 5:15, and then you've got House of the Dragon tonight. I don't know if you're a Game of Thrones fan.
Nope,
you hate it.
Yes. So which gets bigger ratings? The Eagles preseason meaningless game that none of the starters are going to play, or the Phillies Mets at 1:35? Which one gets higher ratings?
Eagles for sure. Not even close. Yeah.
A team in a pennant race can't even get the ratings in a football city. That doesn't surprise me.
Paul says the Bears, who love safety, Jaquan Brisker. I love Brisker, man. And Eddie Jackson doesn't fit their future plan. I'm all in, Paul. You got to make that move. So anyway, we'll be doing a watch party here on the channel of How the Dragon tonight, starting at 9 o'clock. That's when the episode drops. Yeah, LJ's like, I don't like it.
I'm good. I'll pass on that one.
But anyway, expect all the highlight reels. We'll be doing a post-game show right when the clock hits 0 of this game. Although, unlike last week, there wasn't much going on. I think we jumped a little early before the clock hit 0. It's kind of boring. Luckily, the Phillies actually had a really good game. I think they beat the Mets or was it the Braves? No, it was the Mets in extra innings that game. That was a lot of fun. But we'll be doing a post-game and expect all the highlight reels and all that kind of stuff rolling forward. So thank you, LJ, for joining, man. My man,
thanks for having me on.
At LJ Harrell 54 on Twitter. Go give him a follow. And the Kelly Green Hour podcast, so good if you want real Eagles talk. So Paul says in the game, man. Thank you so much. We will see you during the post game. For LJ, for myself, stay awesome